Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about a question on all the concepts related to the design of flexural members. Okay, go through this question. Basically, this question covers all the concepts what we have discussed in our theoretical part. Okay, even though the question may be lengthy, but this question covers, as I said, all the concepts and provisions what we have discussed in design of beams. Okay, first read the question. Check the adequacy of ISMB 550. Okay, ISMB 550 as SSB means simply supported beam of span how much? 7 meter. Clear. Carrying a reinforced concrete floor capable of providing lateral restraint. It means this particular beam mentioned in this question is laterally supported beam. Okay, this beams mentioned in this question is laterally supported beam. Means recollect the concepts or you can say formulas, provisions related to the laterally supported beams or simply supported beams what we have discussed. Okay, next. So lateral restraint to the top compression flange. Okay. Now total UDL is 250 kilonewton. Of course, UDL means uniformly distributed load. Its unit is kilonewton per meter. But here it is kilonewton. It means that UDL is multiplied with length. And that value was given here. Okay. 250 kilonewton. And in the 250 kilonewton, 100 is of dead load and 150 is of live load. Is that okay? Assuming a stiff bearing length of 75 mm. Now this stiff bearing length is required in determining the web buckling strength and web crippling strength. Is that okay? So at the end we see or we use this. Okay, at the end we see how this stiff bearing length is going to be used. Okay, at the end of this question. Clear? Now these were the properties related to the ISMB and this was the table 9C table. Okay, this was the table 9C in IS 800 2007 in which slenderness ratio and corresponding design compressive stress values were there. Okay, now go through these values. Overall height as we know 550, width of the flange is 190. It means B is nothing but half of the width of the flange, that is 95 mm. Okay. This is the thickness of the flange and root radius. What is the root radius? With diagram I will explain. Okay. So root radius is the radius of the curvature at the fillet. Okay. Root radius is nothing but radius of the curvature at the fillet. So fillet is nothing but it is a junction. Okay. It is a junction of flange and web is known as fillet. Okay. So at that junction or that junction part we provide with some curvature. Now the radius of that curvature is known as root radius. How much it is? 18 mm. And the thickness of the web and moment of inertia. Okay, moment of inertia along x means this is the axis along which bending moment acts and along which the beam is going to bend. Okay, next elastic section modulus and parasitic section modulus. These were the values. Okay, again you need to take this question. Okay, you need to take this question and keep it with you when we are discussing the solution to this question. Okay, once you take this question, I'm going to rub this question and we'll start the discussion of the solution of this question. Okay. So first step in the discussion of the solution of this design of beam is finding out the section type. Okay. Finding out the section type, or in other words, classification of the section. So first step is classification of the section. Classification of section. So already we have discussed the types of sections. Okay. So these types of sections were classified based on moment carrying capacity theoretically, and in realization of that classification we make use of some dimensional ratios, that is width of the flange to the thickness of the flange ratio and depth of the web to the thickness of the web ratios. Is that okay? Already we have discussed those values and a main criteria for the classification of the section, and I'm not going to repeat that. Okay. Now coming to the classification, let me draw the I section here. If you observe, this is flange and this is web. At the junction of flange and web, there exists a fillet. It means the curvature. So this is the curvature that is present at the junction. Now this curvature is having some radius. Is that okay? So that radius is known as root radius. Okay, at both top and bottom. Okay, that radius is known as root radius R. Here also R. As we know, this is the overall depth. We represent with H, which is equal to 550 mm. And this is the depth of the web. Okay, this is the depth of the web. D is the depth of the web. Okay, D is the depth of the web, which is obtained by subtracting, okay, which is obtained from this, okay, which is obtained by subtracting this root radius and thickness of the flange at top and bottom from the overall depth of the I section. Means minus twice TF plus R. As we know, this is the thickness of the flange. Here also same scenario. This is the thickness of the flange. So by subtracting root radius and thickness of the flange at top and bottom from this overall depth, we'll get the depth of the web. Okay. Now depth of the web comes out to be 550 minus 2 into TF. TF is how much mentioned in the question? So TF is mentioned as a 19.3 plus root radius is 18. So upon simplifying this, we'll get this value, depth of the web as 475.4 mm. Is that okay? So this is the depth of the web. Okay, this is the depth of the web. And in classification of the section, we require one more dimension, that is B. So B is nothing but half of the, already we have calculated, half of the flange width. Okay, half of the flange width. So flange width is how much given? Okay, how much the flange width given in the question? 190. So 190 by 2, it is 95. Okay, and the coming to the ratios, B upon TF. So how much the B? B is 95 and TF is how much? 19.3. Okay, so this comes out to be 4.922. Okay, now D by TW. So D is how much? 475.4 upon TW is 11.2. Okay, this ratio comes out to be 42.45. So obviously this is less than 9.4 and this is less than 84. Therefore, this section, okay, the section that is IS MB 550 mentioned in the question comes under plastic. Okay, it comes under plastic category, or it is simply a plastic section. So given section is a plastic. Given section is a plastic section. Is that okay? As I said, this is the first step in the design process of the beam. Okay, in the design process of the design procedure of the beam, this is the first step. What is the first step? Classifying the cross section. Now we can classify the given cross section as the plastic section. Okay. Now next, second step, as it is simply supported, as a given beam is simply supported, which is mentioned in the question clearly. Okay, this is the reaction at A and this is the reaction at B. Okay, as it is a simply supported beam with UDL, therefore maximum bending moment. Okay, maximum bending moment for that case is WL square by 8. But here W, small w is not given, capital W is given. Therefore, okay, therefore the moment value is, the formula for moment is WL by 8. Before calculating the moment value, we need to factor the load. Means we need to multiply the given load with 1.5. Then that load becomes design load. So factored load, or you can say factored UDL. That is 1.5 into 250, which comes out to be 375 kilonewton. Is that okay? Now factored bending moment. So we simply take it as M. So factored bending moment is nothing but, as I said, formula we know, that is WL square by 8. But here small w is not given, capital W is given. Therefore formula is capital W by 8, which is 375 into 7 by 8. Okay, this comes out to be 328.125 kilonewton meter. In the same way, factored shear force or calculated shear force, one and the same. So factored shear force, which is represented with V, so that is W by 2. It means 375 by 2. That comes out to be 187.5 kilonewton. And the reactions. Coming to the reaction, as it is simply supported beam with UDL, therefore RA is equal to RB is equal to 187.5 kilonewton. Is that okay? Okay, these were the external values. Okay, these were the you can say external bending moment and shear force values because of external applied load. Okay, now this is how much? 375 kilonewton. Okay, here the reaction at A and this is the reaction at B. Clear, everyone? So this is the second step in the design of the beam or flexure member. Now let us go for the third step. Third step. Third step is nothing but calculation of required. Okay, calculation of required ZP means plastic section modulus. Required ZP, that is required plastic section modulus. Required ZP. As we know the formula for design flexural strength. What is the formula for design flexural strength for plastic section or for any section when it is laterally supported? That is MD is equal to beta B ZP Fy by 1.1 or gamma m naught, one and the same. As the given section is, okay, as the given section is plastic, okay, since the plastic section, as the given section is plastic, since the given section is plastic, now this plastic section ratio beta or beta B comes out to be 1, right? Beta B comes out to be 1. Then this formula modifies as MD is equal to ZP Fy by 1.1. For the same design, this flexural, okay, this flexural strength or design flexural strength of a beam should equal to factored moment. It means for safe design, okay, for safe design, M means a factored bending moment or external bending moment should equal to design flexural strength. Okay, design flexural strength. So in place of MD, write M. Okay, now ZP required. So from these values, calculate the ZP required. So ZP required is equal to, in place of MD, write M. M into 1.1 by Fy, right? So M is how much? 328 point. Okay, M is 328.125 into 10 to the power 6. That is a Newton mm into 1.1 by 250. Clear? So this is the ZP required. Then how much simplify this? So upon simplifying, we'll get ZP required as 1443.75 into 10 cube mm cube. Is that okay? This much of ZP required. Then how much the ZP for IS MB 550, or you can say how much the ZP we have provided? So ZP provided is 2711.98 into 10 to the power 3 or 10 cube mm cube. Is that okay? So from this it is very clear that ZP required is less than ZP provided. It means to carry 328.125 kilonewton meter of moment, how much plastic section modulus required? 1443.75 10 cube mm cube of plastic section modulus is required. Then ISMB 550, what we have provided or what we are using as a beam, is having how much of ZP? 2711.98 into 10 cube mm cube. Therefore, safe. The selected section is, okay, safe against the external bending effects. Okay, this is what the third step. Now let us go for the fourth step. So now fourth step is check for design flexure and shear strength. Design flexure and shear strength. Okay. Check for design flexure and shear strength. So first, design shear force. Okay, design shear force we represent with VD. Okay, so VD is nothing but Fy by root 3 into 1.1. So this is the design stress into area. Now what is the area that is subjected to shear in I section? Web area. Now what is the area of the web? H into TW. Okay, H into TW. So this value comes out to be 250 into H is 550 and thickness of web is 11.2 divided by root 3 into 1.1. Now simplify it. 250 into 550 into 11.2 divided by root 3 into 1.1. So this comes out to be 808.29. 0.29 kilonewton. Is that okay? Now this design shear strength VD obviously is greater than V. As we know, V is how much? 187.5. In the first step, in the second step itself, we have calculated the shear force, the design shear force coming onto that beam because of load. How much it is? 187.5. Obviously, it is safe in shear. Okay, obviously the given beam is safe in shear. Now we need to check flexural strength. Okay, design flexural strength. So for that, we have to know whether the given beam is in low shear case or high shear case. Okay, so what is the condition for low shear case and high shear case? If 0.6 VD is greater than V, then it is low shear case. If it is opposite, then it is high shear case. Yes or no? Now, how much the 0.6 VD? 0.6 into VD is nothing but 808.29. So 0.6 into 808.29 comes out to be 484.97 kilonewton, which is greater than V, that is 187.5 kilonewton. Therefore, it is low shear case. Therefore, the given beam is in low shear case. Yes or no? And one more check that is required, that is web buckling. Okay, whether the web is going to buckle or not, we need to check. What is that check? If D by TW is less than 67 epsilon, of course it is a mild steel, so simply write it 67, then no web buckling, right? Then no web buckling. Now how much is the D? Already we have calculated 475.4 divided by 11.2. So this comes out to be around 42 point, how much this value? 42.45. Less than 67 implies no shear buckling of the web. No shear buckling of web. Okay, so after all this, we go for checking the design flexural strength. Is that okay? It means the given beam is in low shear case and there is no shear buckling. Why? Because these conditions were satisfied. Okay. Design flexural strength. As we know the formula for design flexural strength for laterally supported beams in low shear case. What is that formula? MD is equal to beta B ZP Fy upon gamma m naught, of course. As it is a plastic section, so this comes out to be 1. And plastic section modulus is 2711.98 into 10 cube, and Fy is 250 divided by 1.1. Clear or not? Okay, upon simplifying this, we'll get the value of MD. How much the value of MD we are going to get? 616.36. Clear? Now this MD, okay, this MD should be less than or equal to 1.2 ZE Fy by gamma m naught, right? Okay, gamma m naught. Now this 1.2 into 25, so ZE means elastic section modulus is 2359. Okay, 2359.8 10 cube into 250 divided by 1.1. Upon simplifying, we'll get this value as, okay, we get this value as 643, okay, 643.58 kilonewton meter. Obviously, this check is going to be fulfilled by the given section for the particular loading or for the given loading. It means MD is less than, so MD is how much? 616. So 616.36 kilonewton meter is less than 643.58 kilonewton meter, right? Yes. This check is also going to be fulfilled. Okay. It means we have completed the check for design flexural and shear strength. Now we need to check for permissible deflections. Okay. We need to check for permissible deflection. That is the fifth step. Check for deflection. Okay. Next is check for deflection. Next step, that is the fifth step, is check for deflection. Here, the externally induced deflection should be less than or equal to, mostly less than lambda, permissible deflection mentioned in the code, or you can say delta max. Delta max, or you can say permissible deflection in the code. Clear? Now, delta is equal to, as the given beam is simply supported beam with UDL, then what is the maximum deflection in that case? Which is what we have studied in strength of material, the standard formula, that is phi W L cube. Here I am writing L cube. The reason it is a capital W, not small w. So phi W L cube by 384 EI. Is that clear? This was the formula. Okay, this was the formula. Now 5 into, and that too here one more important concept to be noted or to be remembered, that is here the load to be considered is a live load only, not the total load, and that too without factorization or without factor. Okay, without factor or without multiplying that load with partial factor of safety for load, we need to consider here W, and that too the live load we need to consider. That is a provision mentioned in the code. It means 5 into 150 L cube is how much? 7000 whole cube by 384, and E. So this is the elastic section modulus. Sorry, E is nothing but Young's modulus. Okay, Young's modulus value, standard value for the steel, that is 2 into 10 to the power 5. And I value already given in the question. What is I value? 64900 into 10 to the power 4. Okay, so upon simplifying, we'll get this calculated delta, or you can say deflection because of externally applied load. How much? 5.16. Okay, 5.16. And coming to this delta max mentioned in the code is L upon, or you can say span upon 300, as it was brittle cladding. As they present brittle cladding for the given beam on the compression flange or on the top of the compression flange. Therefore, delta max, or you can say maximum permissible deflection, is span upon 300. So upon span upon 300, we'll get span is nothing but 7000, means in millimeter, by 300. It comes out to be 23.33. Is that okay? So obviously here delta means deflection calculated due to external applied load is less than maximum permissible deflection. Safe. This is also safe. So now the primary criteria were completed. Now we are left with secondary criteria, that is web buckling and web crippling. Now how to check in those aspects, let us see. As I said in the beginning of our question, we'll see at the end how to use that stiff bearing length. Yes or no? Now in this case, or no, as of now, we'll see how to use that stiff bearing length. Okay, in the check for web buckling and web crippling of that given beam. Okay, next check, that is sixth step. So sixth step, check for web buckling and web crippling. Check for web buckling and web crippling. Okay, check for web buckling and web crippling. So first we'll go with web buckling, and later we'll discuss web crippling. So coming to this web buckling and web crippling, already we have discussed, but with a diagram. First let me explain, or first let me show. So this is a I section longitudinal view, and that too we are going to check this web buckling and web crippling for this question at the supports, means at the end, means at the support we are going to check. So this is the stiff bearing length B. How much given? 75 mm. Okay, and this is how the reaction is going to act. R, how much the reaction? 187.5 mm. Is that clear? Now here I will show you the cross-sectional view. Is that okay? Because of this web buckling, this is how web is going to deform. Okay, this is how the web is going to deform. And we design this web in web buckling as a imaginary column having effective length equal to L effective 0.7 of D. So 0.7 into D. D is how much? 475.4. So 0.7 into 475.4 will get effective length of this web. It means this web is fixed in between these two flanges. It means, as I said, we assume that web has an imaginary column fixed in between two flanges. Then effective length is 0.7 into D. So 0.7 into 475.4 comes out to be 332.78 mm. Is that clear? as a reaction is acting at this location on this area, and if you proceed towards the top, okay, top of the section or towards the top of the compression flange, then the area is going to increase. Okay, area is going to increase, and the dispersion line we assume it as this one, having an angle of 45 degrees. So this is how this is going to disperse, and we are going to consider at the center. Okay, here we are going to consider at the center. Now whatever the width is present at the center, that is known as B. That is known as B. Then how to get this B? So this B is calculated. Okay, this B is calculated by taking this dispersion. So B is equal to stiff bearing length B plus small b plus h by 2. Is that okay or not? Now B is how much? 75 mentioned in the question. And h is 550. This was also mentioned by 2. So finally this comes out to be 75 plus 275. It comes out to be 350. Okay. Now area in this web buckling. Okay, area in web buckling. Area in web buckling. Okay, area in the web buckling, simply take it as A. So area in the web buckling is considered as A is equal to 350 into thickness of the web, that is 11.2 mm square. Is that okay? And to calculate the web buckling strength, okay, web buckling strength, the formula is web buckling strength, PWB, web buckling strength. The formula is A into FCD, right? So just now we have calculated area in web buckling, that is 350 into 11.2. Then how to get this FCD? This FCD is calculated by calculating the slenderness ratio. Okay, by calculating the slenderness ratio of that web. Is that okay? Then how to calculate the slenderness ratio? We know that slenderness ratio is nothing but, here I will write, slenderness ratio is nothing but KL upon R minimum. Yes or no? So already we have calculated the KL or effective length. How much it is? 332.78. Then how to calculate the minimum radius of gyration? So that is again already we know that procedure, but here also I am going to repeat. So procedure is R minimum is equal to under root moment of inertia upon area. Okay, area of the web. Moment of inertia of web upon area of the web. Now moment of inertia and area of the web is to be considered at this location where the reaction, or you can say point load, is acting, or where the load is acting. Now what is the moment of inertia? I is equal to, here I will write, I web is equal to, at this location the width is simply B. So B TW whole cube by 12. Okay, that is a moment of inertia at this location. Now area at that location, area of the web at that location is simply B into TW in this formula. So if you substitute these terms, okay, if you substitute these terms in this formula, finally we are going to get the minimum radius of gyration as TW upon root 12. So substitute, we will get the same formula. Now T upon root 12, TW upon root 12 is nothing but TW is 11.2. Okay, thickness of the web is 11.2 upon root 12. Okay, upon root 12. So by simplifying this, we will get the minimum radius of gyration. That is 3.23. Okay, that value comes out to be 3.23 mm. Now substitute here 332.78 by 3.23. We'll get slenderness ratio value as approximately 103. Okay, 103. In the question itself, slenderness ratio and FCD values were given, right? So what are those values? For 100 slenderness ratio, FCD is how much? 107. And for 110, it is 94.6. Now we want FCD for 103 slenderness ratio. So this is what required. Okay, this is what required. Now this FCD is calculated by linear interpolation. Now FCD is equal to, okay, FCD is equal to 107 minus 3 by 10 into 12.4. So simply I written the interpolation. Okay, simply I written the interpolation here. So now FCD comes out to be 103.28 MPa. So this is the value for FCD. Now in the calculation of web buckling strength, we know each and every parameter, or all the parameters. That is, area is known to us, and just now we have calculated FCD. Okay, just now we have calculated FCD. Now substitute. So A is 350 into 11.2 and FCD is 103.28. Okay, upon simplification, we are going to get this as 404.86. So web buckling strength is how much? 404.86, which is greater than the reaction, or you can say load at that location where web buckling starts, means at the support, 187.5 kilonewton. Therefore, it is safe. It means the web of this IS MB is safe against web buckling. Now let us check for web crippling. Okay, let us check for web crippling. Take it down. I am going to rub this. Web crippling. So this web crippling take place because of high bearing action. Okay, high bearing action produced due to concentrated load or reaction at the supports. Is that okay? So for that also we require the longitudinal view and the cross-sectional view of the section. So this is the longitudinal view. B is equal to 75 mm. And this is how the reaction will act. And this is the cross section. Okay. Now web crippling at the support will occur like this. Is the web crippling, means local buckling of the web. And for this web crippling, we assume the load dispersion as 1:2.5, right? At this location. So this is 1:2.5. This is considered as a capital V1. Okay, this is considered as a capital V1. Let us take this as H1. It means if you proceed 1 unit in vertical direction, then in horizontal direction we need to proceed 2.5 units. Is that okay? If we proceed 1 unit in vertical direction, then in horizontal direction how many units we need to produce? 2.5. These are empirical. In previous case, the load dispersion line is taken as 45 degree, and in this case it is taken as 1:2.5. These were purely empirical. Okay, these are purely empirical. Now what is H1? So H1 is nothing but thickness of the flange plus root radius. So thickness of flange is how much? 19.2, and root radius is how much? 18. Okay, thickness of flange is how much? 19.2. Okay, 19.3, not 2, sorry. 19.3, and root radius is 18. So finally it comes out to be 37.3 mm. Okay, 37.3 mm. Now coming to this B1. So this B1 is nothing but stiff bearing length B, small b plus 2.5 into H1. Okay, 2.5 into H1. Then B1 comes out to be, B is how much? Small b is 75 plus 2.5 into H1 is how much? 37.3. Upon simplifying, we get the B1, means the width at which web crippling is to be checked. Okay, so how much this comes out to be? 168.25 mm. Okay, 168.25 mm. Clear on? As we know, thickness of the web, how much it is? 11.2 mm. Okay, 11.2 mm. Now for web crippling strength, or you can say for web bearing strength, we are having a formula. Web bearing strength, very simple formula. Web bearing strength represent with FW. Okay, so yeah, web bearing strength is nothing but area into Fy by 1.1. Is that okay? Now area is nothing but this 168.25 into 11.2. 168.25 into 11.2 into 250 divided by 1.1. Clear? This is what the web bearing strength. Okay, upon simplifying, we'll get this value as, okay, upon simplifying, we'll get this value as 428.27 kilonewton. Okay, 428.27 kilonewton, which is greater than reaction at the support, that is 187.5. Is that okay? Therefore, it is safe. So now with this, we have completed all the design aspects. It means with deflections we have checked, we have completed the primary criteria. Now with this we have completed even secondary criteria also. Now in all these criteria, the given section, or you can say the given beam, that is ISMB 550 is safe, and we can use that particular as a that particular section or that particular I section as a simply supported beam for the 7-meter span having a load of 250 kilonewton onto it. Is that okay? Now in this question itself, I'll explain I shear case also. It means this is a low shear case. Okay, this is a low shear case. In this question itself, I'll explain I shear case. What is the condition for I shear case? As we know, if 0.6 or you can say 60% of design shear strength is less than externally acting shear force, or you can say factored shear force, then that is I shear case. Okay, in that I shear case, how to calculate design flexural strength, let us see. Okay, so first you take down. Later in this question itself, I'll explain I shear case also. Take down. I shear case. So I shear case means 0.6 VD. Okay, 0.6 VD is less than V. Is that okay? For this question, V is how much? For this question, V is 187.5 kilonewton. Okay. If we consider the same section, then that comes out to be low shear case. That's safe. Therefore, let us assume another section. Okay, let us assume another section. So what is that section? So let me write the details of that section. ISLB 300 at the rate 0.377 kilonewton meter. Is that okay? Now properties of this section are overall depth is equal to 300 mm and width of the flange BF is equal to 150 mm and thickness of the flange TF is equal to 9.4 mm. Thickness of the web TW is equal to 6.7 mm. And IXX, moment of inertia along bending axis, that is 7332.9 into 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4 mm power 4. And elastic section modulus ZE is equal to 488.9 into 10 cube mm cube. And plastic section modulus ZP is equal to 554.407 into 10 cube. And the root radius R is equal to 15 mm. Is that okay? So these were the details of, or you can say properties of the section we have considered. That is ISLB. Now for this section, let us see how to calculate the design flexural strength in I shear case. Okay. For that, first we need to calculate depth of the web. We know that depth of the web is nothing but H minus 2 into TF plus R, right? Now H is how much for this section? 300. 300 minus 2 into thickness of the flange is 9.4 plus root radius is 15. Upon simplifying, we will get depth of the web as 251.2 mm. Is that okay? So that is the depth of the web. Okay, that is the depth of the web for this section. Now let us classify this section. It means whether it comes under plastic or compact or semi-compact. Let us see. So for that, we know that D by TW. How much? 251.2 by TW is 6.7. Okay, 6.7. So this comes out to be 37.84, less than 84. Okay, next is B by TW. Sorry, B by TF. B is nothing but half of this one, that is 75. Okay, so 75 by 9.4. Okay, 75 by 9.4. This comes out to be 7.98, which is again less than 8.4. Then the given section is less than, okay, then the given section is plastic. As a given section is having the units, or you can say values less than, for the less than which are for the plastic section. Therefore, the given section is classified as a plastic. It means whatever the ratios we got, those ratios are less than the ratio specified for plastic section. Okay, ratio specified for plastic section. Therefore, this ISLB 300 is a plastic section. We can classify this as a plastic section. Is that okay? This is the first step. Now, second step. Design shear strength. Okay, second step is design shear strength. So second step here is design shear strength. Design shear strength. that is VD. So VD, as we know the formula for VD, so VD is equal to Fy by root 3 into 1.1 into H by H into TW, right? So it is 250, H is how much? 300 and TW is 6.7 by root 3 into 1.1. Upon simplifying this, we'll get the value of design shear strength as 263.74 kilonewton. Okay, 263.74 kilonewton. Now 0.6 of VD, that means 0.6 into 263.74 comes out to be 158.27 kilonewton. So this 158.27, okay, this 158.6 VD is 158.27, which is less than V. So less than V. Therefore, it is a high shear case. This is a high shear case, right? It is high shear case. Now, what is the design bending strength? Okay, design bending strength or flexural strength. So let me rub this. So design flexural strength. So design flexural strength in high shear case is represented with, so MD is represented with MDV, right? Now MDV formula is, MDV is equal to MD minus beta into again MD minus MFD. So already we have discussed about this formula and we have seen each and every parameter term in this formula. Is that okay? Now MD. What is the formula for MD here? Let me calculate the formula for MD. Formula for MD. So MD is nothing but, as it is a plastic section, so plastic section ratio is 1. So directly I will write ZP into Fy by gamma m naught. That is, so ZP for this section. So how much the ZP for this section? So ZP for this section is 554.407 into 10 cube. So that is the ZP into Fy is 250 by 1.1 by 1.1. Then we will get MD. So MD comes out to be, okay, MD comes out to be 126 kilonewton meter. Okay, that is what MD. Now coming to the beta. So beta is nothing but 2V by VD minus 1 whole square, right? So this is beta. Now 2 into V. V is how much? 187.5. Okay, 187.5 by VD is how much? 263.74 minus 1 whole square. So this is beta. Upon simplifying, we will get this beta as 0.178. Now only the term here we are left with MFD. Okay, MFD. Now MFD is equal to ZFD Fy by gamma m naught. Okay. Now coming to the ZFD. So ZFD is the plastic section modulus of a section excluding shear area. Okay, excluding shear area. So let me draw the I section again. In this I section, okay, in this I section, what is the shear area? The shaded region with the red color is the shear area. So what is the area of the shear here? So area of the shear is H into TW. Now in the calculation of ZP, okay, the calculation of ZFD. So this one, okay, this one, we need to exclude this area. So now ZFD is nothing but ZP, means plastic section modulus of whole section, minus plastic section modulus of this shaded area. Basically this shaded area is a rectangle. So for rectangle, what is the formula? H TW square by 4. This is the formula for plastic section modulus for rectangle. Now this shaded region is also like a rectangle, or you can say this web is also like a rectangle. Now exclude that one. Sorry, H square TW. Okay. Now ZP given in the question as 554.407. Okay, 554.407 into 10 cube minus H is how much? H is 300, right? H is 300. 300 square and TW is how much? 6.7 into 6.7 by 4. Is that okay? Upon simplifying, we will get ZFD. So ZFD comes out to be 403.657 into 10 cube mm cube. So once again I repeat, just ZFD is the plastic section modulus of I section excluding shear area. Now this is the shear area. Basically the shear area is in the form of rectangle. Now if you exclude plastic section modulus of that rectangle, we'll get just ZFD. So ZFD, in this way we can calculate ZP of a whole section means plastic section modulus of whole I section minus plastic section modulus of the shaded region, that is rectangle. This is the formula. Now substitute here. ZFD is nothing but, just now we have calculated ZFD 403.657 into 10 cube into 250 upon 1.1, right? Upon 1.1. Now we'll get this as 91.74 kilonewton meter. Now in this formula, okay, in this formula for calculating the design flexural strength, every term we have calculated. Okay, every term we have calculated. So let me rub this. Now what is MD? MD is how much? There it is. 126 minus beta is how much? 0.178. Again MD is 126 minus MFD is how much? 91.74. Upon simplifying, we will get design flexural strength of that beam, that is ISLB 300 in I shear case. So upon simplifying, we will get this MDV as 119.9 kilonewton meter. Again, this MDV has to be checked. That is, this MDV should be less than or equal to 1.2 ZE Fy by 1.1, right? So that is 1.2 into elastic section modulus is 488.9 into 10 cube into 250 divided by 1.1. So upon simplifying this calculation, we'll get it as 133.34 kilonewton meter. Now this MDV is 119.9 and this 1.2 ZE Fy by 1.1 is 133.34. Therefore, this is satisfied. This condition is satisfied. And the given or taken or assumed section, that is ISLB 300, is safe in this I shear. Okay, safe in this I shear, and we can use that ISLB as a beam in I shear case. Is that okay? This is the total design procedure of a beam, or you can say flexural member. So as I keep on saying all the time, even the compression member also, I said the same thing. These type of questions are not at all expected in final gate examination, but any part on this, it means we have seen some around 7 steps. So in these 7 steps, any one of the steps can be asked in the gate question for 1 mark or 2 marks. Is that okay? For that reason, I have explained the total design procedure for the beam and even for lacing and batting and design of compression member also. Okay, design of compression member in that topic also. Is that okay? So take it on. With this, we have completed this design procedure discussion. Okay, design procedure discussion by this question. Okay, take it on.